After over 2 decades, one of the most beloved Kirby games of all time is finally getting a sequel. But is it just another Mario Kart clone, or is it something even better? How's it going, guys? Mike here, and Kirby Air Riders is shaping up to be one of the biggest racing games of 2025. But it's very different than Mario Kart, and in a good way. First, let's talk about the game's karts, or as they're called, air ride machines. Compared to Mario Kart, Air Riders does not have a kart customization system, but it does have different stat boosts, kind of like Mario Kart Wii did as you selected certain karts. And different karts have different ways of handling, steering, and acceleration. For example, while machines like the Warp Star are balanced, others like the Turbo Star have different pros and cons. I think this is really interesting because different people will have different play styles, and you've also got some karts like the Swerve Star, which have a unique way of accelerating and moving. Some of these karts kind of remind me of the Cyan Wisp from Sonic Colors, the way it would zigzag when you went into laser form, and I think that's pretty cool that they're adding these kinds of play styles so people can change the game up in competitive play. I also love the designs of some of these karts. My two personal favorites are the Rex Wheelie and the Battle Chariot, not only because they look very Mad Max style, but they also look super metal and like something that you're trying to use to bully other players. Not saying I do that, but I think a lot of people are going to. Also, another big thing about this game that separates it from Mario Kart, which I personally think is a major selling point, is the power-up system. The way the power-up system works in Air Riders, you don't have these random objects that you select to take down enemies. You have these little stat boosts that can boost your attack, your defense, even your HP, and I think it's awesome. The reason being is because too many games are copying Mario Kart's power-up style. I mean, if you look at games like Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, as well as other past games like Nickelodeon Kart Racing, they're copying the power-up system that Mario Kart had and aren't doing anything original aside from certain mechanics. I mean, sure, Cross Worlds is adding the Cross Worlds feature, which allows you to travel between dimensions while racing, but there really isn't a difference. And Mario Kart World was a little underwhelming with its free roam feature. I mean, sure, you can do cool tricks, you can do missions in the overworld, and it kind of incorporated itself into the Grand Prix mode, but at the same time, its core mechanics remain the same, and there's really nothing unique about it, although that's debatable because you do have a lot of new characters, but I could go on. But Kirby Air Riders really reinvents this, especially because the way that you can deal with other players, each character has their own attack style. I mean, Kirby can inhale enemies and use his copy ability to basically attack other players. King Dedede attacks with his hammer, Meta Knight with his sword. It's something that really takes advantage of the lore and skill sets of each of these characters from other Kirby games. But remember how I said that Kirby can use copy abilities? Well, for the first time in a Kirby game, every single character can use copy, not just Kirby. But Kirby does have more than one special, and he's the only one in the game to have that. However, each character can use different kinds of copy abilities. For example, Dedede can become Sword Dedede, Meta Knight can become Fire Meta Knight. You're not just limited to just Kirby using copy abilities. I think this is great, and it gives each racer an equal advantage and doesn't make one better over the other. Although there are some that can use themselves as shields. I mean, each character has different stats. I think this is really interesting. I mean, the way this game plays, it's like a bunch of bumper cars, but everyone's using weapons, if I could describe this game in real life. But seriously though, Air Riders is really making sure it's distinguished itself from Mario Kart World, as well as other racing games coming up. Speaking of all these characters, you aren't just limited to playing as Kirby, Dedede, Meta Knight, and the core Kirby cast. You got a lot of other characters like Waddle Dee, Waddle Doo, Cappy, even newer characters like Susie and Magalore who returned from previous Kirby games. I think this is awesome because Sakurai took a lot of inspiration from the way games like Mario Kart and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds incorporate their own character rosters and really wanted to basically make this Kirby and Friends All-Star Racing. I mean, I'm not saying it is that, but it definitely gives off those vibes, and I think that's a great thing. I'm also pleased to say that the game does have multiplayer, up to 8 players wireless, and up to 16 players in city trial mode, and I think that's an awesome thing because a lot of bigger games are focusing on having up to 24-player multiplayer, but some people just want a smaller party so they have a better chance of winning. I like how the devs are taking this into account and are also not paying attention to newer evolved forms of racing, like in games like Mario Kart World, all in order to please longtime fans of the series. Now, speaking of the devs, Air Riders has an amazing dev team led by Masahiro Sakurai, and it's basically the same team that works on Smash Bros. In fact, it's a collaboration between Sakurai's company Sora as well as Bandai Namco, and there's quite a history behind the game. As a matter of fact, Sakurai got the proposal for this and was strongly requested to make it by 2 high-ranking Nintendo executives during the time he was working on the Smash Ultimate DLC. And he actually talked a lot about this in his YouTube channel. I'm actually going to drop the link to the video where he talked about it in the description below. And it turns out that it took him about 2 to 3 years to make from the moment he did it. It's actually interesting because the way that Sakurai posts a lot of his videos, they're actually done about 2 or 3 years in advance. So he had more than enough time to make Air Riders, so you can tell he put a lot of effort. Either way, I'm really excited to play it, and you could tell from the modes that he really took a lot of inspiration from Smash Ultimate in designing the UI. So the way you select things on the menu, the way you scroll across different modes, it's really gonna be a tribute to Kirby fans and kind of a callback to Smash Bros. The way it plays out. Now, speaking of modes, Kirby Air Riders has some very interesting ones, the most interesting of which is City Trials, which is set on a floating island called Skya. Now, Skya is the only map in the game for free-roaming city trials, and you could partake in a whole bunch of different events and races in this game. One of which is the Dust Up Derby, which is basically a fight to the death where there's one person standing. You basically race and battle each other until one person's left and grabbing as many power-ups as you can. And another unique thing this game has compared to Mario Kart World, which they didn't add to free roam, is field events. And by the way, as a longtime Kirby fan, I am pleased to say that they finally brought back Dynablade as a boss. Now, for those who don't know, Dynablade is a massive bird and a well-known boss in the Kirby games who hasn't been in a Kirby game as a fightable boss since Kirby Superstar Ultra back in 2008. But for the first time in decades, we can finally fight him in the overworld as a boss in Kirby Air Riders. The gameplay looks incredible, and they really captured Dynablade's size in full glory. You also have other field events like giant spike balls falling from the sky, as well as mysterious rocks popping up all over the place, and all kinds of different things that can really change your gameplay experience as well as how you fight certain enemies. Overall, though, I'm really excited to get my hands on Air Riders, and it's definitely shaping up to be a unique racing game with its own identity for once. Now, I do want to note, this video is very condensed and doesn't cover everything with Air Riders because Sakurai did say that we're going to be getting some more information very soon before it launches on November 20th. But there is one more thing I want to talk about, and that's a mysterious teaser that happened at the end of the Air Riders Direct, which revealed a mysterious new character. I can't quite make out this character, but it looks to be shrouded in darkness, but it definitely does not look like dark matter, although it's got some resemblances to that and King Dedede. It looks to have some kind of weird engine on its face, kind of similar to the wheelie bike, but it could be something else entirely. I mean, what is this teasing? Is it a mystery character exclusive to Air Riders? Could it be teasing a potential story mode or maybe a new boss fight? Who knows? But either way, there's definitely a lot to this game that we don't know, and it definitely has more than meets the eye. But seriously, guys, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think of Air Riders so far, and are you going to pick up the game? Let me know in the comments section below, and be sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you guys so much for staying with the channel. I know it's been a minute since I posted. Had a lot of work schedule conflicts lately and just a family emergency that happened recently, but all is well. We are finally back, and I'm hoping to get some more content up on a weekly basis, so thank you guys so much for bearing with me. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you when Kirby Air Riders launches on November 20th.